Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with today's fountain pen video. 3 weeks ago I posted this review of the Admok M800, a knockoff of the Pelikan M800. I was extremely disappointed in the acrylic finish of that pen, calling it Mother of Toilet Seat, or MOTS. For a pen that cost me $70 Canadian, I felt ripped off by the cheap, flat, and unattractive acrylic, not to mention the ordinary nib. After that review, I was offered a straight swap of my Admok M800 with the Schmidt nib for pen friend Miss Marilyn Darling's Admok M800 in Galaxy with a Bock nib. We've done the swap and I have the Admok M800 Galaxy with the Bock nib in my hands. And this is a totally different pen. So much so that I'm going to say that this is the Admok M800 version 2. Let's take a look at the M800 version 2 and see what has changed right now. Certainly very well packed. My goodness. And there's the pen. I should put this on Doug's mailbag. Dear Doug, thanks for trading pens. I hope you like it. Take care. Marilyn Darling. Miss Marilyn Darling. Look at this calligraphy. Isn't this marvelous? Marilyn really knows how to do this copperplate kind of calligraphy. It's just beyond me, but it's just gorgeous. Look at that. Let's see here. Nice case. Oh, upside down. There we go. And there it is. So it's a little bit cold, so it's condensing a little bit. But yes, that's very nice. Well, I'll have to put this pen through its paces, check that Bock nib rather than Schmidt. I know that the Schmidt nib on mine was very nice. This piston doesn't close all the way down. Marilyn has provided the wrench, so I'm going to take that apart and make sure that it's adjusted properly. And we'll fill it with some ink and give it a, maybe I'll do a review, a rethink. So we shall see what we shall see. So let's take a look at the things that have changed in version 2 of the Admok M800. The first and most obvious difference is the acrylic. Let's take a look at this. Yep, that's Galaxy. That's depth, that's chatoyance, that's shimmering, sparkling, gorgeous. Compared to the acrylic on my first version, this is spectacular. The second difference is the etching on the top finial. The first version had nothing, but the second version has what looks like a stylized phoenix bird. This makes the Admok M800 even more of a knockoff of the original Pelikan M800 than its predecessor, with that bird motif on the top finial. There's the M800 with the Pelikan on the top finial. And the third most telling change is from the Schmidt medium nib that I had on the original to this Bock fine nib on this one. It is a standard generic Bock nib with no other markings or branding on it or even size designation. The Schmidt medium was an okay nib. It wrote smoothly with no need for adjustments. I'm usually not a fan of Bock nibs, but the number 6 size fine Bock on this pen is one of the nicest I've ever experienced. You'll see that in the writing sample. Let's look at this Admok M800 version 2 alongside of its competitors and with the pen it's copying. And here is the Admok M800 version 2 in Galaxy with a Pelikan M800 blue stripe, an Asvine P20 in Galaxy, and a Hongdian N12. These are all piston fillers. And let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. This is where we sort the wheat from the chaff right here. The Pelikan posts beautifully, while the Hongdian N12 posts pretty well itself. The Admok and the P20 don't post very well at all. They kind of sit on that end ring between the piston knob and the barrel. Now let's look at them unposted. And here they are unposted. Visually, the N12 is much more similar with its black piston knobs and sections to the M800 Pelikan, but it's only an homage to the shape because the sections are different, the clips and the end finials are different. All of these are number 6 size nibs, and the Pelikan, of course, is an 18 karat gold nib. The others are steel. I've replaced the Asvine medium nib on my P20 with a Kaigaloo long knife because I like some character in this writing, and I write with this pen all the time. Now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and I'm going to write with each of these pens, the Admok, the Pelikan, the P20 Asvine, and the Hongdian N12. Of course, you can see the writing review of the first version of the Admok M800 by clicking right up here. But let's write with the Bock fine nib first. And this is the Admok M800 Galaxy, and it has a number 6 size Bock fine nib. And let's check the wetness. It's very, very nicely wet and very smooth with very little feedback. And there's a real amount of bounce in this nib. Took me by surprise. Let's close up on that nib, and you can see the amount of bounce you get out of it. It's very nice indeed. And the line this nib makes is a 0.5 millimeter, which is a Western fine and a Japanese fine to medium. On my Richard Binder line width chart, which you can find linked in the description below. And for our quote, and now let's try the Asvine P20. As I mentioned, I've replaced the nib on this pen with a Kaigaloo long knife, which is an architect style grind. The original number 6 size Asvine medium nib was very smooth and very pleasant, and I remember being very impressed with it. I bought the P20 in amber as well, and that nib was quite nice too. And I've been impressed with the Asvine steel nibs I've experienced so far, much more so than the Moonman number 6 size steel nibs that preceded them. Don't be confused. I'm of the mind that Asvine is Moonman, and these Asvine number 6 size nibs are the new generation of Moonman steel nibs. And I have a new Asvine V200 titanium vacuum filler on the way, and I was offered either an Asvine or a Bock nib, and I chose the Asvine. But I'm wanting this P20 to write with some character, so I put the Kaigaloo nib in, and I use this P20 quite regularly as it sits on my desk pen stand. So the ink in the P20 is a Roshizuku Konpeki. Now for the Hongdian N12. This nib isn't as pleasant as any of the previous nibs. Some of the Hongdian number 6 size steel nibs I've experienced lately have been very good, with some really nice bounce to them. This just isn't one of them. It has some bounce, but it just feels a bit stiff and, I don't know, unpleasant on the page. I suppose with a good amount of smoothing, I could make it feel less, it's not scratchy, less draggy, I guess, on the page. The N12 itself, however, is a much more impressive homage or tribute to the Pelikan M800 rather than being a knockoff. I think Hongdian did a very good job with the N12 to capture the essence of a Pelikan M800 rather than slavishly copying every detail. I just wish this acrylic were better. It's just rather flat. It's not as bad as that Admok version 1, but it just hasn't got the depth of Galaxy. If the N12 had this Galaxy acrylic, it would be the best of the group here, except of course with the original. And here is the original Pelikan M800 with its 18 karat gold number 6 size nib. and this quite simply is the best writing nib in my entire collection. And I've written with many expensive gold nib pens from Montblanc to Namikis and Nakayas. So here are my conclusions about the Admok M800. I gave the original Admok M800 a bad review, and I stand by my reasoning. For a $50 fountain pen, that Admok was a failure to me. The acrylic was horribly flat and ordinary, belonging to a $10 pen, not a $50 pen. The Schmidt nib was good, but it didn't make the pen worth $50 because of the look of the acrylic. I mentioned in my comments on the first Admok that if they had put the Galaxy acrylic on that pen, it would have made all the difference. Well, they have, and it does. And this Bock nib is superior to that Schmidt nib, and that makes this pen worth the $50 price tag. I also adjusted the piston inside this one to make it hold more ink at 1.45 milliliters rather than the original, which I measured at 1.1 milliliters of ink. I'm positive that I got an early version of the Admok M800, and this version with the etched top finial and Bock nib is a much better purchase than the original. My recommendation would be to avoid the first version if you see it, and look for the version with the logo on the top finial. They seem to be available in either Schmidt or Bock nibs. I would suggest the Bock, and in what looks like 9 color variations. All of the acrylics on these look to have some good depth to them. Thanks go out to Miss Marilyn Darling for swapping with me. I know I got the best of this deal, so thank you.
Okay, man, here's the sugar. Now you give us the money.
That wasn't part of the deal.
He's right. Who wrote this thing?
And there you have it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And you can join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month. I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, sneak peek unboxing videos, as well as early access to all of my videos the moment I upload them. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.
I made this.